let me hop on over to YouTube and...
So it is written.
So it is written.
Oh, I love this Rays of Light. Wait, I love this song. This Nier song. Even though the name is escaping me at the moment.
It's...
you were right.
Yeah, it's Seiruin's Rays of Light.
Oh, okay.
But...
Anyways, I am sorry. I will... Actually, no, I'm gonna turn on push to talk because I will be this.
I'm gonna be swapping these real quick though to our usual foray. And okay, so it's been a hot minute. It's been 3 weeks. Who would like to recap what has happened last time? Oh, there's Carol.
We have a volunteer for tribute.
Carol, would you like to recap what has happened last time?
Let me think. I remember there was a fuck ton of exposition. No, that was the time before last, wasn't it? I recall that Ra theorized homeless man was their father and sent Ricardo to pick them up. And we're going to hold a little peace talk, hopefully, using his airship as a neutral zone.
Hopefully being the key word there. Apparently there's an inquisitor around who's not going to be very happy with the local proceedings. So in other words, we're Bloodborne now.
Hi, Mina. Stop yelling at me, Mina.
Give me a second to close the window.
I don't remember anything else in that session. It was so long ago.
Alright, so, big important bits. Let me finish chewing.
We're back.
Great, so, Artemis stayed down and kept poking through the terminal, while Ra had a talk with Serge, as it looked like Serge had kind of lost a little bit of his faith, or it had been, like, some of the foundation had been shaken up, and he wasn't looking as great as he normally is. And he normally looks very, very good. He's Serge. Very, very attractive man. And so, Ra was directed towards something that would exit the bowels of Artengale and deposit him up in some of the more closely politically controlled areas of Artengale. I believe it was beneath the temple, or whatever the name was. And after ascending alone, Ra met up with who else would it be but Madius. And him and Madius went up to Elsmore Janius, being the de facto leader of the
Guild of Innovations.
House of Innovations.
Yes, House of Innovations.
House of Bad GM. I'm just kidding. Elsmore saw through Ra's ruse and now knows his real name, Reshevrak. And Ra was like, yo, buddy, so yeah, it turns out, found out some shit, might have some leads on what happened to your father and the rest of his expedition. I have a thread that I'm following there, and I think it's in our best interest to pursue the grander problems than just rooting out evangelical religious people. It's going to be a much better idea for us to work together. And Elsmore was like, yeah, checks nails. Maybe if I can talk to Serge. And I was like, all right. I guess I'll set up. I'll try to set up a meeting in some unaffiliated airspace where you guys are on some equal footing. And so Ra called in a favor. He has sent a couple sendings out. He found out that the homeless guy in Highgate was a member of the Janus Patriarch's expedition down into Ardengale, and something ended up happening down there. Ricardo is on his way to pick him up, and then he's going to dock in Ardengale. And hopefully, upon Ricardo's deck is where this meeting will be taking place. And so, Ra left, split up with Marius, ended up running into Artemis while she was in one of her disguises, and the other two party members disguised as birds. As after figuring out everything they wanted to know from the terminal, they ended up making an aerial recuperation up top on the surface of Ardengale and reintegrating into the actual city. We have since reconvened at the Overlook, which is the tavern, and Ra's just headed over to the harbor after figuring out that what's his name, the little cute scout kid, the religious one, Lewis has been caught, probably by the Inquisitor, and she's probably going to put a big ugly finger polished nail in all of our plans. So hopefully you guys can deal with her while Ra continues trying to carry the group. And I believe that's it.
All right. So what should we start with?
Let me think. I'm trying to remember if I know that there was also some interesting bit of lore that we did learn was something about Noah and the Warriors of Light and martyrs and gods, and it was a huge fucking thing, but I cannot possibly parse that all into existence.
I'm pretty sure what it was is that the Warriors of Light are a thing, and the Lufenians created like anti-Warriors of Light to help combat the gods
no.
the Warriors of Light ascended into.
Our way around. The Lufenians made the Warriors of Light.
Oh.
They were supposed to imprison the what's your term for them? Eidolons?
Espers.
Espers, yeah. They're supposed to imprison the Espers, who were heroes in the past.
Doesn't that make the Espers like the actual Warriors of Light, whereas the Warriors of Light project was
we've nothing really to say that they were like Warriors of Light. We just know that Warriors of Light were made by Lufenia too.
So they don't have any official title. The Espers are just super naturally cool dudes.
There's some very confusing happenings going on, and we're just now getting into the thick of it.
Some crazy lore drops happen, yes.
Oh yeah.
But here now, we want to arrange a little meeting between two faction leaders, and we want to go off without a hitch, but we have an Inquisitor meddling in our affairs, and she seems to have found a way to capture Lewitz, basically Serge's right hand. So, what do we want to start with?
It would be great if you guys came up with something to occupy the Inquisitor while Ra tries to arrange this boat meeting.
You wanted to break into the place a third time.
No!
You could do some more terrorism that doesn't. No more terrorism. No more terrorism. I really need to not stoke that fire.
Wait, hang on. Is it a third time?
No.
But
Hey, a fourth time and we've just and B, last time we unanimously decided
Actually,
not to do that.
I think all you would have to do is like show up somewhere really far away from the harbor to concentrate their forces as a diversion. Wouldn't that work? Because you guys are wanted, and you'd be able to play as your characters for once
got 3.
instead of like your fifth alter ego.
So I think right now where we left off was that you were in the hidden little base underneath the Adventurers Guild.
Yeah.
Right. I think I might have wanted to ask Noah about it.
Right, and Myth wanted to ask Noah what the deal was.
Can we save that
'Cause-
for after, guys? Please.
You can say you interrupted Myth in the middle of her meditating, and she's just like, "What?" And then you explain.
Ron's going towards the harbor. He can't do anything.
Actually, I think, yeah, let's open up with that. Myth getting into contact with Noah.
Great.
Alright, so you find a nice quiet space, you sit down, you get into your meditative posture, you center yourself, take a deep breath, and you try to reach out to him. There is no response. You try to follow the trail. You try to sense his presence where it usually is, but you don't sense anything there.
That's Noah. I suppose this is a bit of an awkward subject. Alright, I'm gonna try another 30 minutes. Spend another 30 minutes trying to do that, and then after the third time fails, Will Smith is going to just sigh and then, like, have dinner or eat dinner or something.
After realizing that calling out to him has not worked, trying to reach out to him hasn't yielded any fruit, it feels as if just the thread tying you two has just kind of fallen off, which is spooky.
Oh, it has fallen off? Oh, jeez.
It seems like your connection to him has been severed somehow.
Do you have
Oopsie.
Do you have sending?
No, not in this form. Not in this class.
Sadly.
None of the rest of us have met him, so that's unfortunate. Oh well.
So trust me, I wanted to get back to Clarence for a while now.
Weren't we planning to like go knock on Ramu's door in the plane of lightning?
Yes, we were. And
how do you prepare as we actually get in there?
Oh, was this in character?
Yes.
My bad. Let me finish reading then.
I'm just going on a hunch, but I don't think there's a door anywhere marked. Step through here to get to Plane of Thunder.
Maybe not in such simple terms.
Well, I assure you that I can't cast Plane Shift. It's a bit above my pay grade. And given the state of magic here, I wouldn't be surprised if... Actually... There's probably one person around here who can cast it.
Question mark?
Although I'm not entirely sure how amenable Arjun would be to do that.
Didn't he
Wait,
say
that's the
he's
sickest
leading
idea I've
you
ever
guys
heard.
to the newest fate or whatever the fuck ever, Koopa?
What?
Language. You can be.
Sorry, that was a bit.
Well,
What?
well, he mentioned that he was trying to guide everyone to a new.
Well, aside from Arjun, I can't really think of anyone else in the nearby vicinity who might be able to cast a spell of that potency. Unless you can do it, Magic Book.
Here for a moment, I thought you were contemplating summoning Ifrit, Lord Ifrit, for the purposes of plane shifting us.
I'm sorry, what? And as you say that, it's just like you see the gears turning in her head.
Mind, I do not know if the simulacrum of him is capable of such actions.
More than likely, he can transport himself between planes, but one direction, more than likely. Which would be to fire. And again, I suppose it can't really hurt to ask.
And another thing, speaking of Arjun, I believe he may have done something. Either that or those information we found proved itself a little too awkward, I suppose, for my contact to want to keep in contact with me, I suppose. So all we have to go on is that we can use the lightning magic. The control is that we can follow the lightning magicite to its source and use that to teleport ourselves to the plane of air.
That sounds highly suspect. Are you sure you can actually do that?
Me? Are you asking if I'm able to perform the transportation?
Artemis shrugs her shoulders, unless you were expecting me to do it.
Mith kind of like clenches and unclenches her hand. I know the methods. However, whatever life that this me has taken, I do not know if I would still retain the same abilities. In which case, I suppose I might have to ask Ron to do it.
Actually,
You
what?
kind of see, like, as Mr. says that, you see kind of like incredulous expression kind of like come across her face, like, wait, would I have to do this? What?
So it's come to that, has it? We're trusting Ra to feel his way through the metaphorical abyss.
No. No, it isn't. It is not quite an abyss. After all, well, you can travel. Though the barriers between planes are weak. I'm sorry. Let me swallow that. Weakened. Actually, wait. Never mind. I don't know if Mith knows that. Though the barriers across planes seem insurmountable, it is only through slips, I suppose, across planes that we may transport ourselves through. As such, any place that we're able to even cross to the plane of air would be a place that in a way, to use a manner of speaking, the fabric between our world and that of the said plane is one thinner.
This is what it's like for other people when I'm talking, isn't it?
Pardon?
No, never mind.
Is Orion
Alright, what about your fox buddy? He can shift between planes, can't he?
I can't call upon him at this moment.
Great, let's go find Ra then.
My gosh, I can't believe Mith is giving Ra a crash course on planar travel 101.
Alright, where is Ra?
Ra is like probably 6 or 7 streets away and making his way to the harbor.
At any rate, well, Ra's here right now, and before we can even get access to the terminal, I don't think she knows that word, to whatever the strange device is that may allow us to follow the currents of energy. We do need to, well, see the Mith kind of like gestures vaguely at the sons of Ramu. We need to see this conflict quelled.
Conflict might be a little easier to quell if the metaphorical bomb wasn't hovering over our heads. I suppose I am going to have to try and get in contact with Arjion then, aren't I?
Are you suggesting for us to deal with? Are you suggesting for us to meet with Lord Ramu first before settling whatever may happen here?
Well, I'm not really doing much to advance the peace process, so having a method available to get the plane of air afterwards would probably be a good idea.
That is true. Remind me, do we know that Louis was captured?
Yeah, Ra let her go.
Okay.
Also, I'm almost certain breaking into the police division for the 4th time is probably chancing my luck more than I'd like to.
Oh, also, not to interrupt, but Serge also said that he was going to look for someone
Oh, cool.
So,
This shit talk is weird.
Well, I think I am going to devise a method by which we might get in touch with our erstwhile foe. I don't know what you plan to spend your time doing, but she takes the fire magicite out and tosses it to Mith. If you think you can get in touch with Ifrit, and if you think he can shift the planes, then by all means. There's no point in limiting ourselves to one avenue of inquiry.
No, but aren't you the one that tunes the magicite?
Abraca on the tune.
Does it take like a minute to unattune to something? I forget.
Don't think it takes any time.
No. Well, whatever. We'll say you did it. I'm not going to make
Yeah.
you sit there for a minute and unattune it. All right. So you take it out. It kind of glows a little, and then the glow dims, and you toss it to Mith. Mith kind of
Alright then.
catches it, and Mith, you now have the fire magicite from the free.
Hey. Man, can I have another handout? Can I just have a handout to be able to write under to keep track of my inventory instead of like having 2 character sheets?
You have a party inventory box. You can always just put it on there and put your name next to it, signifying that, like,
mine.
yeah,
Okay.
this is Myth's.
That is an idea, huh?
Alright, do we want to switch to Rana and then let's see if he has an avenue of inquiry he'd like to explore?
I'm down. So Ra's on his way to the harbor. Has anything happened?
Outside of people being on alert,
I guess
No.
actually I'm gonna keep an eye out for the presence of the Nomial Inquisitor.
the Inquisitor herself.
Perception.
You could probably easily spot her from her, like, ostentatious attire, most likely. 21. Well, you see a few officials, but the person herself does not seem to be present. I think it's probably an easy guess that she's
In an office somewhere.
doing some inquisiting.
Whoa!
Pat is feeling feisty. So
My God. I
I get to the harbor and I await Ricardo.
All right. So about, we'll say, 37 minutes or so pass while you wait. People come back and forth, but
In those 37 minutes, I would like to draw a nice picture of the I don't know what time of day is it.
I'd probably say it's mid-afternoon going into evening.
Perfect. I'm gonna try to capture the sunset.
All right.
37 minutes.
Let's see that calligraphy roll.
It's 11. It's like a
Oh,
better something like this than forging documents.
well, it's not your best work, and from that you can kind of garner that you're probably better at drawing people than you are landscapes.
But I shall
Um,
not be deterred.
It looks like so though, but you know that you could probably do better if you were more focused. But having occupied that time, the familiar sight of the sky, or what was it, the sky cleaver, or sky piercer, I think it was.
Sky Piercer.
That's the
Yeah.
name of the
The familiar sight of the sky piercer comes into view, moves into docking. It sets down on the docking rigs meant for cradling airships, and a gangplank comes down from the port side. Ricardo steps down. He's like, kind of like rolling his shoulder. He says, you know, I don't think it was even, 10 minutes since you guys landed here and you already managed to get yourself into trouble? He kind of looks around. Notice your friends aren't with you.
Yeah, I managed to be the only one.
Yeah, because because we're the ones who talk what you're talking about.
But that is neither here nor there. Now that you've arrived, I have a spell to cast. I'm going to use my last 4th level spell slot to cast Sending on Elsmore. Notify him that that Ricardo's here and he should come to the harbor. I guess I'll type it out. It's a pretty open shut kind of message. Don't want to draw unneeded attention. Sent to Elsmore. Any luck with the fellow in Highgate?
Ricardo kind of strokes his chin and he says, I had an ask about. Couldn't find the dude. He kind of like shrugs.
Furrows his brow and sighs to himself.
Well, he might turn up. You wanted to have this meeting in Highgate, didn't you?
Ron nods. I did. It's just, actually, I suppose I would be freed up to go take a look myself. You know, having seen it and whatnot. Looking for a single man in a city like Highgate. It's not very surprising. I do appreciate your attempting. And Ra takes out his coin purse. And he gives the guy... Gil is the only currency, right?
Yeah. Well, it's the most common currency that the people of Soldea answer to.
He hands Ricardo 19 grand.
You have 19,000 gil. Alright, so he jingles a pretty weighty coin purse.
Sylvia
And
just swears off into time-space continuum.
he,
Rip Sylvia.
He jingles his pretty weighty coin purse and he flashes a toothy grin. It's like, yeah, they'll buy you my boat and my skills both for a while. I'll get things right so that we can take off as soon as possible.
After seeing this side of Ricardo, Ra isn't as tentative with parting with the money, and even a little happy with where he spent it. Like, hey, having the loyalty of a captain while in Artengale is a pretty good card to have.
Yeah.
So I guess Ra just chills up on deck.
So you see that Elsmore.
Actually, I guess I'm gonna. Fuck. I don't remain. Wait. How are we getting Surge? Shit. No, it's fine. We'll be okay. Yeah, I wait on deck.
If
Alright,
only
so you-
someone hadn't spent all their spell slots.
If only someone else had some way of facilitating the things Ra has to facilitate.
So with that being said, can I attune to the Magicite and how fast?
All right. You tune to the Magicite and you get its expanded list of spells. Which I believe I have written down somewhere.
Oh, yeah,
I have him in my character sheet.
Because you're a summoner now.
Get him for you real fast.
I technically don't.
Just take a picture of it. Oh, I might not be able to snip while I'm recording.
Uh,
There you
if I contact Lord of Freed, then I may. If I summon Lord of Freed, I'm going to be
go. Oops.
screwing myself up the process. It spend all spell slots to summon Ifrit, right?
Yep, you spend all your spell slots and you summon Ifrit.
Wait, you can
And-
do that?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh shit. In that case, give it back to Artemis.
Oh, okay. So Artemis did not. So let's retcon that.
Yeah.
Okay, Artemis did
Yeah,
not. Give.
Let's for the first time because Artemis can just fuck our spell slots entirely. Get us back into there.
That seems a little bit abusable.
Now, there is a caveat here.
Once per day summon, right?
Like a caveat that just mysteriously appeared as I remembered.
No, it's a caveat that I've had. It's a caveat I've had in mind ever since I gave you this MacGuffin doohickey.
What's the caveat?
Let's hear it.
When you summon Ifrit, not only you spend all your spell slots, you don't get any back for a week.
Oh.
Your magic just goes completely inert.
Holy shit.
Well, even better for the warlock teams because they could just spam Eldritch Blast. Well, actually, no, they can't.
Do you lose access to your cantrips?
Cantrips don't cost spell slots, so no.
Yeah, I was panicking there too because the way he said your magic goes completely inert, I was like,
I guess not completely inert if you can use cantrips, but
so no Magicite, and Elsmore's on his way?
Elsmore seems to be on his way. Yes.
Can I get a little bit of a flashback?
Sure.
So before Ra leaves, he takes. Who still has a? Nah, that's too metagamey. Never mind.
So no flashback.
No flashback.
Okay. All right. So you wait a little bit. You see Elsmore approaching, and he is flanked by a vanguard of I guess police security peoples.
Makes sense.
It's got about 4 of them, and they look pretty decorated, meaning that he pulled some of the best boys he could to his side.
So Ra's gonna walk down the gangplank to go out to meet him. And after stepping foot back on the harbor, he kind of courteously addresses Elsmore with a slight bow, tips his hat a little bit.
He gives you a nod. You took great pains to arrange this. Let us hope that it is worthwhile.
Could I ask your vanguard to accompany me in fetching Surge?
He glances towards his vanguard, and he nods to 2 of them who move over to approach you. They kind of give you their salute.
Well, let's hope this
And-
works, because I'm about to sell out the hiding place.
Alright. So, meanwhile. So, okay, yep. So. Meh. I guess Mith's asking you, kind of like chewing on the problem of what to do with, like, the fact that she kind of blew up an entire her city district by accident.
Womp womp.
Talk to the magic rock.
So what's Artemis doing right now?
Artemis is trying to puzzle out how, with her current load of spells, she can get in touch with Arjun when she doesn't know where he is, has no way to get in contact with him directly. Short of literally walking up to the front door of the.
You could try talking to your book. Maybe the book has a way.
Oh, magic book, please tell me that someone has written locate person within thy confines.
Tick tock, 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 tick tock.
Thanks, but I don't need an alarm, I need a solution.
The book does not answer you.
And now you're relying on the fact that I greatly value all literature. You are this close to being a paper.
Artemis? Artemis found a quiet spot, right?
Yes. I think so.
Okay.
I think the ship on her being crazy for talking to a book has sailed.
Okay.
Fair.
Is something the matter?
No, I'm suddenly realizing what it's like to be a cleric and trying to talk to your deity and they don't listen.
Ah, I see. Best of luck.
Actually, now that I think about it, I wonder if it might be possible to get into the Guild of Innovations after all.
Oh no. He- Say, QTP? Oh, yeah, I was kind of leaning back in the chair in my bed. Okay. Good. What should I... how do I do? How do I just walk up to somebody and tell them, my sincere apologies. I am the one who destroyed your tower and led to the deaths of unknown innocents and am asking for your leave so that I may instead go to meet with the deity you do not believe in their domain to try and appease so your city does not fall and do not only your inhabitants but whoever may be below you.
You're joking, right? You said none of that.
I'm aware I don't say. I'm aware I'm not supposed to say all of that, but they will be asking, as Ra said, they will be asking for the information of what they will be looking for a cause of the manifestation of Ramu that destroyed the city block.
This session is going to be titled QTP teaches Mith how not to incriminate herself.
I think you're not giving Mith enough credit here. To be fair, she knows she's very well not supposed to say all of that. She's just complaining about the fact that it's way too that she's not sure how to admit to even the slightest bit of that without getting it locked up for the better part of a decade.
I suggest a unique method of disseminating information called lying.
Blaming it all on RGL.
Yes, absolutely.
Ra is going to meaningfully stop the Vanguard, probably a street and a half away from the Overlook, and he's going to proceed by himself, and he's going to go around back through the secret entrance.
All right.
So you guys are talking, and you hear the door open and close quietly as Ra comes back through.
Welcome back, Ra.
I'm here for search, and if you guys decide that you want to be a part of these negotiations as well, this is your one shot to join.
I would love to be able to walk around freely. Is that on the table, Koopa?
Once you're on Ricardo's ship, yes, but before that, I don't think so. I have some guards waiting a little bit of distance outside, and they'll be our escort.
I made
You
us.
didn't bring them all the way here, did you?
Probably close enough that they can infer, but no,
I'll take it.
Very well. I'll be joining you. Give me a second. Mith goes to change clothes to her. The clothes she came when she was first. The clothes she was in when she first stepped foot in the city.
It'll be nice to stretch my legs, Koopa.
And Ra goes to actually first he stops next to Artemis and he says, "Do you think you'll be tagging along? Or staying?"
Oh no, I was going to have words with Arjun about how we get into the plane of air.
Ra's eyebrows slowly furrow and he says, "That's a brilliant idea."
I can't.
We're too dangerous for each other.
Presume you wouldn't want to. Rather than presume you wouldn't want to be learning plane of travel yourself.
I'm presuming.
Sorry?
I'm presuming you just left Matthias upstairs.
Marius went his own way.
Did he?
I believe so, yes. He wasn't oh, wait, no, you're right! He is! He's just up in the tavern, isn't he?
You just left him up there.
How cruel, Koopa.
Well, I can think of one person he'd be happy to talk to. And he gives a little bit of a smirk towards Artemis before turning and going to fetch Surge.
Alright, so Surge is kind of waiting in the prayer chamber. He's got his pike staff on hand. He's kind of looking at the emblem that they have hung up. He turns to look over his shoulder and he notices you approach. He says, "So it's time then."
He takes a deep sigh and he says, "From here on out, things will likely be more difficult than they have been. I would like to thank you first for helping accommodate us and helping enable me, allowing this to come to pass in the first place, not to mention putting it all on the line like this. The time has come, yes."
Surge dips his chin with a nod. And he follows you.
Alright. I'll be waiting at the exit way / entrance.
Alright,
And-
so we're going
I give a nod. I give a nod, kind of like instinctively put my hand on Surge's shoulder and whisper a blessing to him, and then we're following you guys out.
So,
If it wasn't me, player actually would have casted guidance. He isn't.
are you sticking around TP, or are you going to be following from like the shadows or something?
Guess I'll turn into a fucking bird again.
So, with a bird, a Mejadi, and Surge, Ra reconvenes with the Vanguard.
I bow to the Vanguard, and then just kind of like... Yeah, I just bow to the Vanguard.
They glance at you, Mith. They whisper a couple of things at each other. But they don't seem to act on your presence outside of giving you a initial bewildered look.
Ra is going to say, she's old enough to hear her own compliments.
One of them's
I crook an eyebrow.
one of them clears his throat. We meant no disrespect, of course. Uh, we have our direct orders, though, and it is to accompany you and yours and see that this meeting should go uninterrupted.
Of course.
And a great thanks to you for that. Let us be on our way.
All right, so you head back to the
Skypiercer.
head your way back to the Skypiercer. Clamber yourselves up on deck. You get the same sort of initial reaction from Mr. Elsmore himself, Mith. But he's a lot more decorated about it. He seems to regard you not with like disdain or any sort of prejudice. He actually seems to look upon your presence with respect.
I bow to him. Thank you for this meeting.
Ricardo steps up from the cabin where he pilots the ship. I guess it would be the cockpit, but I'm not really sure what you would call that part of the ship, though. The helm, I guess. Steps up from the helm room. He's kind of got his hands folded around the back of his neck. As he approaches, he's like, "Is everyone on board?" I'm not.
I think we're waiting for a little bird. Rod just kind of scans the sky.
I quirk an eyebrow.
TP!
Call.
Do you land on the ship?
Yeah.
Alright, great. Rod gives a thumbs up to Ricardo.
He nods. He says, I'm not about to turn the ship around if you need to take a bathroom break."
Don't you have a lavatory?
It's a joke. Anyway, strap in, kids. Make yourselves at home, and he spreads his hands out. "Welcome aboard the Skypiercer." He kind of does it with a little bit of a flourish, but there's, you can tell that there's just there's just kind of a sliver of just sarcasm and like dramatic pose, like melodramatic prose in that.
Ricardo's just a British guy.
He turns around and he heads back to the helm room and leaves you to your own devices.
Ra's gonna lead everyone below deck and set up those who wish to have their own room with their own room. And I think he's gonna chill by himself for a bit and just do some meditation to clear his mind.
Alright. A few more minutes pass, and eventually the gentle rocking beneath your feet signifies that the ship is beginning to take off. And it seems like Miss Inquisitor is letting this go off without a hitch.
Worrying.
Let me find it. Okay. Put you on pause here. All right. So, you hear the chiming of a bell, kind of a clung, clung, as the ship pushes off from its moor and starts to take its leave of Artingale and heads out into the open skies. In
I
the
guess I'll be
below,
swirling flower petals around nervously in my room, because. Sorry, go on.
In your room,
Yeah.
nervously because why?
Just kind of like I guess just the idea of that we're going in just the Clanktarnian's nature of the airship is making her a little more aware that the only thing that's keeping her from falling on into the sky right outside her window is a few inches of metal, which shouldn't actually be, which is actually a pretty good barrier, but
It's still thin.
yeah.
Ra is also a little nervous, but mostly because this feels like the calm before the storm, despite the hurdles that have needed to be overcome to get to this point.
Yeah, no kidding.
Indeed. Throughout the cabins, there is a certain electricity in the air, and you saw it above deck when Serge and Elsmore met face to face, presumably for the first time, or at least the first time in a long while.
So thinking on that, can I roll? Can Rogers rack his brain and try to roll insight on whether or not it seemed like they recognized one another?
Roll insight. 16. If anything, they do seem at least passingly familiar with each other.
Interesting. Where's Teepee? Is he still a bird?
Yeah, no, after a bit, he's not gonna be a bird anymore. He's grateful for the chance to not be a bird. So, he cooped up in his own little room, I guess.
Alright, I guess we're just waiting.
It'll make sense later. Just wait.
Maybe he should.
No, I just imagine Ra escorting the bird into his own room.
Oh,
It'll
yeah,
make sense
yeah.
later. Just wait.
Maybe Teepee should have chosen to be a trained actor. And that's what happened to him.
Anyways, he's in his room. What's up?
The music has changed.
It has become airship theme because you're on an airship.
That's fair.
Through the port windows, you can see how the clouds are just flitting by at a pretty solid pace. And you kind of feel it in your bones. There's just this very, very innate sense of inertia that your body kind of gets acclimated to, but definitely flying.
Ra opens his mouth mouth really wide and like tugs on his ears as he tries to get them to pop. Then he gets to look out for Highgate.
Okay. Anything y'all want to talk about? Or are you just gonna wait out the trip?
So, Ra, where exactly are we going for this place?
Well, Ricardo tried to find the homeless man that I procured the lightning magicite from, because after all, I did theorize he was part of the expedition that Elsmore's father was a part of. I wanted to see if we could get any facts from him, but Ricardo wasn't able to find him. So we're going to Highgate. We're going to Highgate ourselves, and I'll probably do a precursory search while Surge and Elsmore facilitate. Actually, do you think we should be around for that?
I do wonder. I don't think I've seen the beggar. But perhaps we can search for him together a bit, and then after, and then you can return to oversee the proceedings with Surge and Janius while I proceed to do the search.
God, if only you had that book with you.
Well, what if we just do the proceedings first, and we find out Corey afterwards? No doubt, Elsmore would be willing to wait for us to at least make the attempt, as it is probably the last thread leading to his father. I think that's the best proceeding.
I nod.
Ra looks very grateful for someone to finally come and swap plans with him. Looks like his shoulders, which were probably all tensed up and rigid for the past several days, just are finally relaxed, and he's breathing a little easier.
Everyone make a dex save.
Uh-oh. Oh!
Everyone on the airship make a dex save. Alright, so you feel a massive rumbling, the ground gives out beneath you, you go toppling over, Ra, just face against the floor. Mith, you're able to find something to grab onto as your footing slips. TP, you also managed to cling onto something and narrowly avoid perhaps a loose piece of like luggage or something bopping you in the face. After you feel his rumbling and the shaking,
It's motherfucking Evray, bitches.
you guys managed to recover your footing.
I look outside the window. Are we still going?
It seems like you've slowed down considerably.
Did something happen?
Did I take any damage?
No.
Alright, so Ra just like kind of fixes his hair a bit as he gets up and rubs his face in pain. And he says, I'm gonna go check what that was.
Alright.
Can you go check on Surge?
Then.
Ra just bolts out the door towards Ricardo,
Alright.
towards the Helms room.
I'm going to start opening all the doors and just like checking in. Well, start opening the doors where I know people are and checking in on people.
I'm okay.
That's good to hear. Do you have any idea what that may have been?
Knowing our luck, giant bird.
Ricardo walks down from the helm room to the below deck where you guys are all converging.
How's Surge?
Surge is fine.
Elsmore?
So is Elsmore.
Perfect. Okay, fine.
They are kind of like looking at each other as if suspicious of one another.
Did you do it? No.
Yeah.
Did you do it? No.
And then they look at the captain, who approaches a lot of you. He says, "Well, thought we'd just slip in and slip out, but seems like Gale's fine. Air fleet didn't want to let us go."
What?
You might want to.
Somehow, I'm not surprised.
Are we stationary?
He kind of nods towards the stairs to the above deck, and he heads up that way.
Ra just slowly starts to ascend them.
Oh,
Alright, let's do this.
please don't fight. Oh, lady.
Where was it? Where was it? There it was. Okay. Bring this whole one back. All right. So you guys head up above deck. And sure enough, looking over the railing, you can see 6 or 7 ships that look to be to have come from Artengale. They are converging in.
Well, don't think there's
Ricardo's like, so close yet so far. He's kind of like scanning them, and he's kind of like, he seems to be searching for a way that he might slip past their ranks.
Are you, should we have moved maps?
No.
Okay.
It looks like they're approaching.
Yes.
Ra's gonna call down the stairs. Elsmore, any chance you can get them to let us by?
Elsmore walks up, along with his entourage, and Serge is accompanying him. He looks upon them and he furrows his brow. So that's the way of it then. He looks at Serge and he looks at you. I can try, but I doubt that they are here to accept a yield.
And
All right.
why?
Just throwing this out here. Let me take a wild guess. I'm gonna say that the Inquisitor is aboard one of those and wants to take both groups out so that they can have all the power for themselves. Sound about right?
Ricardo?
Ricardo's kind of like muttering under his breath, and he's like, "Yeah, what?"
How are the guns on this ship?
Kind of grins. It's one of the scrappier sky dogs you'll find, but I don't like those odds.
Me neither.
He's kind of chewing out his thumbnail. The forefront of the Artengale Air Fleet opens the door to its firing battery, and you can just see the guns glowing as they're priming their weapons.
All right, Mith,
It's a
TV,
fight again.
both of you, do your best to help maintain the engines and hulls.
Of course.
He looks at Ricardo. You navigate or me?
And he runs towards the helm.
Great.
I'll try to get us out of here as fast as we can.
Roz run down to the leather stone.
As you do that,
Oh boy.
you feel just a over you as from below the cloud cover a large airship ascends. It nearly capsizes this one, but
Oh boy.
can I get another dexterity save?
And that would be the one that the Inquisitor is on, isn't it?
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate.
All right, what do we got? Mith, you go colliding into the side railing and you nearly fall off, but it's a near thing. Where you're clinging for dear life on it. TV, you go bumping right into Mith. Ra, you manage to, as the ship almost capsizes, you manage to like plant your fingers down. You're sliding across the deck, and you cling onto the edge of a door frame.
Can I use the momentum to like just jump down the stairs that are probably like horizontal at this point?
Give me acrobatics.
Only Myth could fly somehow.
19.
19. All right. Yeah, you managed to do it.
Alright, way down to the leather stone then.
Yeah, you're just sprinting for the Levistone. And as this ship ascends from the cloud cover, Mith, you might recognize it. Because you're still above deck. It swoops right over your ship, and some of the cannon fire turns, and it starts opening up instead of on the sky, instead of like on the sky splitter.
The motherfucking Thieves Guild!
Hey!
The cannons
Wait.
turn on the much bigger ship.
It's the 1080K!
And the shots smash against a beehive barrier of light that erects. Some of the manifestations of barrier energy shatter under the weight of the cannons, but just plows right through them and fires a shot, clipping the wing of one of the forefront ships. It goes skeetering off. You hear from like a megaphone system on the ship. Hoy there!
Ahoy!
It continues to say, "You heading to Highgate? Best hurry on over. We'll catch right up with ya."
Alright, so what's this Levistone got? What am I working with here?
It seems like it's got your basics. It's got boost. It's got shield. It's got a stealth cloak.
Alright, so
The shield doesn't seem that powerful, but the stealth cloak definitely does.
I'm definitely gonna put on the cloaking.
Alright, so you focus magic into the Levistone. Runes manifest around it and start circling. And a weave of energy begins to swirl around the ship, and
Is there an intercom system here?
there is in the helm.
All right, Ra's gonna buzz into Ricardo's helm, and he's gonna say, "I've engaged the stealthing. Try to drop us in altitude."
On it.
QTP, can you go check on Surge, and my gosh, his name's constantly
Elsmore.
Elsmore.
You got it.
The two seem to have recovered from the second tussle, as just
They're
the
both
updraft.
thrown overboard, and the quest fails. You enter the doomed timeline. Ra also says through the intercom, "Let me know when we've got a straight shot, and I'll engage the boost."
On it. These friends of yours?
I hope so. I don't know what's happening.
All right. Ricardo pulls some levers.
They're our friends.
The ship drops into the cloud cover, and he hammers down on a big button. Everyone feels just the force of just the burners kicking in, just propelling the ship. You guys.
Can Mith use Entangle to latch herself onto the ship deck to more tightly?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Mith does that.
You do this, and you manage to keep Teepee, Surge, and Elsmore secure to the deck as just the wind goes whoosh, and the ship is just blowing its way over into heading towards Highgate. Hear the echoing sound of cannon shots back and forth being traded, getting more faint.
My apologies, sir. What am I apologizing for? I have nothing to do with that. Do you happen to know why the Ardengale fleet has decided to cut us off? I had thought that you had made arrangements and told the others of your plans to parlay with Surge.
Pretty sure I answered that.
I like to be optimistic. Let me be optimistic.
Elsmore kind of straightens down his clothing, just makes himself look somewhat presentable again after all the rocking and shaking that's been going on. His hair is just a little bit unkempt now. But he looks towards where the ship had fled from, and he looks towards you and he says, "I would have words with my chief inquisitor, but it seems like she'd rather have my head instead." This is a guess. I'm not sure, but I can only think of one person who might benefit from this betrayal. A few moments later, you manage to safely dock in the harbor beneath Highgate. I forget the music that I played in Highgate way back when.
Was it Bajirba? No. Was it Tactics?
I don't know.
Remember?
Oof.
Don't remember at all.
Highgate.
I think I might have just used the FF12 Empire City theme.
Maybe.
Arcadia. I might have just used Arcadia.
That's not Rabenaster.
Might have used Robin Oster. Let me see if it sounds familiar. Not quite. Well, it's Arcadia now.
No one can prove otherwise.
You can't prove it. It's not recorded.
It might be.
Well. Anyway, yeah, you guys managed to safely land in the harbor area of Arcadia. Wow, I called Highgate Arcadia. Okay.
Also, we just lost the bot.
I know. And your legs probably feel like jelly, all the rocking and shaking that's been going on, but you managed to just barely escape Ardengail's air fleet.
Well, there's a reason Mith used that entangle, huh?
Yeah.
So, Ra's gonna be the first down the gangplank. And he's gonna make sure everyone's okay as they follow after him.
How are Elsmore's guards looking?
They look very distraught and shaken.
Yeah.
One of them is busy throwing up over the railing.
Can I? Oh, I can't.
We live in a flying.
Wait, can I use lesser restoration on him?
Cures poison.
Well, is air sickness a poison?
I think it's like vertigo, right?
I guess, but I don't know if that's a poison.
I think that's just.
That's fair.
Huh.
It's kind of just a condition.
Yeah.
I mean, you can end either one disease or one condition.
If you argue that curing poison is stabilizing the body, then it would. But if you argue that it's like magically extracting something foreign, then no, it wouldn't.
I mean, if you want to use it on him, he'll be fine. Otherwise,
All right, sure. I'll just use the lesser restoration on him. As he's throwing up, I give him a few hearty pats on the back to help him and cast lesser restoration while I do that before just walking away.
All right. Well, the guard seems pretty appreciative. Gives you a firm nod. Of thanks.
Will you be accompanying us, Ricardo?
I trust you guys have it from here. I've my own things I gotta sort out. Maybe I'll track down that friend. Give that another go.
Nods and looks to Serge, Elsmore, the guards, and then gives a more knowing glance to Mith and TB, and he says, "I think I know just the place to hold this." And he begins to lead them towards, I forget the inn's name, but the one they were staying at when we were in Highgate. The one that has the Thieves Guild presiding over it.
Yes.
Yeah, where is it? I think I wrote it down somewhere in. I hope.
I didn't have a Highgate picture, did I?
Oh, it's called the Humble Toad.
The Humble Toad. That's fine.
The name of the name of the inn, apparently.
So, I didn't know this. I have the Rambling Man's name in my notes,
Cool.
which is good because you didn't remember it.
I did not.
And so
I'm
as
bad.
As they're walking, Ra's going to be keeping an eye out, and he'll say to Elsmore, "Does the name Attalus Varse ring any bells?"
Elsmore, he kind of like folds his arms and he gives his chin a little bit of a stroke. His brows furrowing. And he kind of he nods. Yes, that was one of my father's cohorts during their original expedition down into the depths of Ardengale.
Well, I can at the very least guarantee you then that should I be able to find him, he will hopefully be the person you remember. And while they're walking, Ra's gonna roll investigation to just kind of keep his eyes out.
Can I help? Wait, I don't have
Maybe he'll ask a couple passersby, like, have you seen the guy that usually raves about Ramu? Homeless looking? No? Yes?
Wait, can I help him out without proficiency in it?
No, you can't.
Okay. Wait. Does Ra say? Did Ra say that he's going to do that?
It's pretty clear that's what he's doing. Like, he's asking
All
the people
right.
that they're passing as opposed to just looking with his eyes.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Well, if it's investigation. So is it going to be Mac? Is it a roll? Sorry.
If he's not, if he's asking about him, I'm not gonna make him roll anything because
Okay. What do I hear?
I can't think of what he would have to roll. All right. So your responses vary, but one does stick out at you. It's like, some young punk is like, "What, that old coot? Yeah. They threw him in a brig for the while. He's getting pretty uppity, so
Thank you.
maybe
Mith,
he's down at the station."
Mith, can you take them the rest of the way? I'll catch up later.
Of course.
And Ra is going to book it to the station.
All right. You head to the station. As always, the same Vilkian receptionist is there, looking down her glasses on the typewriter, doing her receptionist stuff.
Hello.
I think she's Vilkian, and she looks up and she's like, is there a problem, Susan?"
I'm here for one Attalus Varse. He's the old man that usually rattles on about Ramu and the damnation of the populace.
Visiting hours are closed. I'm afraid you'll have to come back later.
What about a bail?
Bail? That's something you'll have to take up with the chief, I think.
And is the chief around?
She presses on a button and speaks into a little microphone. He's like, "Chief, you have a visitor." And you hear a whoa, 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 whoa. He says he'll be right down.
Make that -1 charisma work first, money.
Oh, I guess it's constable, isn't it?
Oh,
I guess it would be. Bring it on.
It's okay, Artemis isn't there.
Yeah, Artemis is there. Speaking of Artemis, what is she doing?
Not dying from an airship, I guess.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he does have the Groose theme.
Bring it on.
Thank God we're back in Highgate. What a great place.
Alright.
Only throughout the book with you.
So Cloist, he steps downstairs and just, the way he does so, he walks with a very, rigid sense of, duty and, authority. And he approaches right up close to you. He kind of strokes his bushy mustache, adjusts his monocle, looks at you, and he says, you're one of those adventuring upstarts. I remember you.
Rock kind of leans back a little bit and he's like, yes, the very same that assisted in your apprehension and dilution of the fleeters and perpetrators that were looking to do some arms dealing here in Highgate. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance again.
Is dilution the word you wanted to use there?
Probably not.
Well, normally, we would have handled this matter with due propensity, but still, I believe what you have done has earned you a proper accolade. And so you have my, and I can only assume, this city's gratitude for nipping that particular problem in the bud. Now,
as you have mine for being such a steadfast and righteous head of state here. He gives just a curt little nod with kind of a shitty smile.
Well, I hear that you wanted an audience with our mutual friend who's been taken in so that he might calm down a bit.
Yes, I heard that he'd been kept here for some while.
Started raving in the middle of the night. And we were willing to let bygones be bygones, but he was being rather disruptive of people's sleep. So, here he is. He has settled down a bit, and we were planning on releasing him in a couple of days to go about his usual business, so long as he promised to not repeat the episode.
I see. Well, if I may.
Oh, but of course. He kind of opens a guiding, open hand gesture.
I walk through.
He follows you, nods to the guardsmen. They open up the gates to the holding blocks. You find him sitting in the last cell. It's kind of cuffed to his bed. For the first couple of nights, he was intent on scratching, and he gestures to like one of the walls with his nails. There's the beginning of what seem to be markings.
Can I roll Arcana?
Sure. 11. They seem to be the beginning of markings, but
Nothing
they're
I can
far.
really discern.
Yeah, they're far too incomplete for you to discern anything from.
Mr. Atlas?
What? Oh. Hello.
Rod just kind of gives him a little bit of a sober look before saying, I have both Surge and Elsmore Janius.
Oh, how are the two boys?
I'd like it if you could ask them that yourself.
Oh, wonder if Surge is just as coincident as ever. And Elsmore, no doubt he's taking his apprenticeship quite seriously. I'll go see them right, King. He tries to stand up, but then the handcuffs keep him from doing so. And he looks down at the cuff and he tug that. Clink, 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 clink. I seem to be predisposed right now.
Cloist.
Cloist is observing this guy silently while just sort of quietly stroking his mustache. He looks at you and he's like,
I may have a way to get this gentleman out of your hair for forever.
is that so? He kind of furrows his brow.
Nothing insidious, but how would you like to relocate to Ardengale, Atlas?
He looks at you and his eyes widen.
Ra holds up his hands and he says, I think we might need your help.
Oh, not Ardengale. I'm not going back to Ardengale. No good can come out of Ardengale. He starts tugging on the handcuffs some more, and all they do is they clink against the railing that they're cuffed to.
Listen, Atlas, we need to hear your story. We need to know the things you've seen. I know just as well as you do that Ramu is absolutely the reckoning that you preach. And there are lives, Atlas, that we need to save before they're lost. Do you understand?
No, fools, all of them. They don't see.
So show them. Help me show them.
He looks around and he looks at the beginning of the scratch marks on the wall. He points at it. He says, pen. I need a pen.
Ra just gets his quill out and the inkwell and he shoves them through the bars.
He tries to reach for him, but he looks at the cuff and he looks at his left arm and he seems to open his mouth as if he's about to bite.
Ra looks at Cloyce and he's like, could you please help me out here?
Cloyce is already going for the keys and getting the lock open to stop him from doing anything drastic.
Thank God.
He steps in and he grips Atlas by the shoulder. He says, No, there's no need for that. There's no need for that. Atlas looks at Cloyce and he looks at the handcuffs and looks at Cloyce again. He seems to calm down somewhat. And possibly just due to Cloyce giving him this dad stare.
Ra moves in and hands him the quill and ink.
Cloyce looks at you and he says, I'm going to undo these cuffs, but if he does anything drastic, I won't be held accountable for what I'll be forced to do.
Of course not. You act within your rights, as always.
He still kind of has this suspicious look on his face as he takes the keys and he unclicks the cuffs.
Ra has a curious thought as Atlas goes about finishing up whatever the beginnings of the scratchings are. And he says to Atlas, I'm a warrior of light. Does that mean anything to you?
Before he can even start etching onto the walls with this quill what he intended to etch, he looks at you and his eyes kind of shift left and right. Oh. He kind of nods. That's cool. And he starts going back to etching.
Rod just kind of shrugs to himself. Oh, okay. And he waits for him to finish. Meanwhile, back at the, what was it, the bloated toad?
Humble toad.
The something.
The adjective noun.
The nounjative.
The adjective animal.
Let's just call it something different. So we're just gonna call it something different each time it gets brought up.
The famous purple stuffed worm with a tuning fork. But yeah, I guess we can put a pause to this theme. So you all file into the inn. Well, Sans.
Undertale?
No, not that Sans.
I'm sorry.
Sans Ra and Sans Ricardo. You file into the inn, and that was definitely a you quip. Feel the shame.
All right. Let's continue.
And, yep.
File into the inn.
File into the inn.
Naladia,
Naladia is not here.
which makes sense, honestly.
I'm just gonna presume that Ra passed you the keys because you guys should have the keys to this place.
Why would Ra have them?
Why don't we have the keys?
Myth. Yeah, Myth just had them. Say that.
Yeah, basically,
Okay.
you have a way in here that the Thieves Guild gave you as a sort of hiding spot. There's of course the table in the common room, and it hasn't seen some use. There is a little thin layer of dust, and it seems like Naladia has been busy doing actual thief work, and she hasn't been able to upkeep the tavern keeper persona, or I guess innkeeper persona that you first met her with. The guardsmen among Elsmore's rank stand off to the side, and Elsmore sits down at one side of the common room table, and Serge sits down at the other, and they just kind of stare.
Before everyone's starts sitting down, can I assume that I was the way in entering, so as everyone's still like entering the room, can I use Gus to blow the dust off of the table? Such.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Sure, I do.
This kicks up a cloud of dust all over the room. One of the guardsmen coughs. And it was like,
Myth. She's definitely not used to this keto.
Perhaps out of politeness, Serge and Elsmore don't say anything, but they do just exchange glances with one another. And they wait for the dust to settle again before taking their seats.
Oh, Myth.
Elsmore decides to open. He says, well, so here we are at the negotiating table. And perhaps whatever the intentions of your cohorts, they seem to have had the opposite effect. I would not presume to speak on your behalf, but I believe that seeing what we have encountered here today, a truce is more than mandatory for going forward. Serge kind of leans back and he folds his arms and he closes his eyes as he contemplates over the matters that have transpired. So let's not bore you guys with the details. We're going to do a fade to back black as the two discuss the discourse going on, and
Ra has some things he wants to argue for, so I might be opening this back up later.
okay.
So back to Ra.
So back to Ra. You watch as Mr. Aetius, I believe his name was.
Attalus, Farse.
Attalus, thank you. I'm bad with names, you know this. Mr. Attalus completes this sigil, and it looks pretty complicated, but
Is this something I've ever seen before?
it does not look like anything you've seen before. But perhaps you could roll Arcana. Maybe you read it in a book somewhere. I don't know. Arcane knowledge.
Yeah, probably not. Oh wait, does this have does this have anything to do with no, that's not what it is. Is it planar sense? Does this have anything to do with extraplanar energies?
Oh, go ahead and roll advantage.
Hell yeah. Hell
Oh,
yeah. Crit, baby.
Nice.
Nice.
Makes up for the crit fail, huh?
About fucking time.
So you pick your brain looking at this symbol, and while you can't place exactly where you've seen it, you do kind of like you're able to pick out the pattern and sort of dissect it, and it does seem like it is basically the magical equivalent of computer code. A lot of arcanamic sigils woven together, lined with like fine writing, interconnected lines between these circles. Basically, geometries that are
Does it
meant
look
to.
like a motherboard or a microchip?
Not really. It looks like a magic circle.
Okay.
I'm just saying it's like the way
That's
it's
the equivalent. Okay.
like the way its pattern is that it is meant to harness latent magical energies and then focus them towards a very particular effect.
Okay.
It looks very elaborate. Attalus finishes and he just quietly slumps back down on the bed and stares at his own handiwork.
Ra, after reacquiring his ink and quill, begins furiously. He's not going to trust his own ability, so he's going to rip a piece of paper out, and he's going to, what is it? The thing where you put the paper like over the etchings and trace it.
You could do that, but it'd probably take several sheets. It's kind of covering a sizable portion of the wall.
That's fine. As many as it takes. I just
Now
tear
we're gonna
like
label them.
4 or 5, and I'll number them so I know what order they go in to put the puzzle back together.
Okay.
What does this mean?
Are you asking this in character?
Yes, to Atlas.
He stares kind of vacantly at it, and then he turns that vacant gaze towards you, and he says, Every key has its lock, and every lock has its key. This is a seal. A code, if you will. You've been down beneath Hardengale, have you not?
Ross slowly nods. I've seen
He nods towards you, and he nods towards that. The sigil, the elaborate pattern he put on the wall. that, and he points an open hand towards it as he's kind of like extending the hand towards it and then retracting it and extending towards it. That's the lock. That's the key. That's the door. You just have to bring it to the crystal. And it will open.
Wait, so they disappeared because they friggin' found a way to the elemental plane of air?
Ra just, his eyes widen and he looks at Attalus and he says, "Is that where Elsmore's father is?"
He looks at it and he looks at you again. He's still got that sort of like vacant looking face. He nods to you. He says, "They're in Mechanus. Yes, Mechanus. Mechanus. The seat of Levin. Ramu's throne."
Ra, like, he grabs both of Attalus's shoulders and looks at him like intensely in the eyes, and then he pulls him into like this tight hug, and he says, "Thank you."
Oh, you're very fresh, young man, but you're welcome.
Attalus, I swear to you, we will resolve this. I will bring you peace.
He's kind of like looking over your shoulder towards the sigil again. Do take care and say hi to the boys for me.
Of course.
Wait, you're not going to tell him to come with you?
I was going to get to that. He parts from that and he says, maybe you can come say that to Elsmore yourself. I think he needs it. If that's okay. And he looks at Cloyst as he posits that.
Cloyst kind of has his hands on his hips and he's looking at the sigil and he's stroking his chin, and obviously he can't make heads or tails of it. This is a bit out of his league, but like, oh.
So I know you can't really follow this, but me and the rest of mine have been in Arden Gale, and you've surely caught wind of what happened in Alakashir, right? With Ifrit being triumphed over.
He kind of slants his lips in a diagonal angle and like, yeah, we've heard sordid business that. In fact, you can see the fireworks from here.
Well, we're on our way to doing the same to Ramu. He kind of puts a hand to his mouth as he whispers this over to Cloyst, and he says, "And you have been instrumental towards that, so thank you." And he bows a little bit, and then looks back at Attalus to see what his response to coming to see Elsmore in person is.
Attalus stands up and he says, "Oh, the boys want to visit for me. Well, what are we waiting for?"
Ross smiles and he begins to lead him out. He kind of looks at Cloyst as he does to make sure it's okay before continuing.
Cloyst is looking at the sigil, looking at Attalus, looking at you. He's kind of double taking a lot. And as you start leaving, he's like, "Wait, what?"
Perfect.
This is fair.
So we're out of there?
Yeah.
Rod just calls over his shoulder. "I'll bring him back, I promise."
Blimey!
And probably like right after the negotiations have finished, they hear the door open.
Before that though.
Okay.
You pass. What's your passive perception?
I need to go back to Shadowhunter. 13.
13. Okay. So it wasn't like they were really trying to hide, but it does seem like somebody was waiting for you, out of sight, out of mind, and you do catch notice of them out of the corner of your eye.
I see.
The figure's hood is up. They're kind of leaning against the corner of a building, arms folded, kind of like in the alleyway.
Rob places his hand instinctively on Sothis' handle, and he says,
You don't have Sothis, though.
excuse me, the beam rifle's handle. And
Oh god damn it, Kale.
yeah, I forgot. Can I help you?
A little friend says that you dropped these. And a pair of hands passes, holds out the Untamed and Sothis.
What?
Ra's hand moves instinctively to
Magnet is
Sothis'
very
handle
efficient.
as he takes them, and he looks at this individual and says, "Is Miranda okay?"
Yeah, she's fine. You don't have to worry about the others. The figure pulls down her hood. It's Naladia.
Yay!
I believe the rest of us are situated at the Toad. I hope that's okay.
I was just about to head in that way.
How did you know I was in Highgate?
Oh, well.
Oh, of course, the ship.
We might have passed by each other on the airwaves, yes.
Rod just kind of straightens up as it's, funnily enough, not too often that he passes by another Alex Shar, and he says, "It is certainly good to see you again, and thank you very much for stepping in when you did." Walk?
She kind of like smirks and she says, "Yeah, the boss and the boys couldn't pass up an opportunity to show off their new toy, so."
How have they been? And he begins the trek back to the Toad with Atlas in tow. Everything been okay here for the past, what, couple weeks? No, it's been longer than that.
She starts following you and she says, "Well, as you can see, business has been expanding. We've been getting into contact with old friends."
One such wouldn't happen to be young Ronley, would it?
She nods.
I see. Well, in the re-establishment of Alakashir, it is good that he has your help. I'm sure you've been instrumental.
Well, that's how it is with us. We work behind the scenes, get things done.
Make sure you have everyone and more in your back pocket if you need a favor, right?
You get the idea.
Well, seeing as how you came to our aid, don't hesitate to ask if you need anything from me.
Oh, trust me. Me and the boss won't. When we need you, we'll call. And she disappears out of the corner of your eye, and she is just gone.
And then the door opens?
Then the door opens, and it seems like Serge and Elsmore have been discussing things at length.
Ah, Ra, you're back.
Ra lets Atlas come in first.
Atlas walks in and he looks at the two, and they stare at each other, and they stare at him, and they stare at each other again, and they both bolt up at the same time and look at Atlas. They seem like very surprised at first, but then like they kind of remember their whole like stature and station. They just kind of like make themselves look more formal after that initial bout of surprise. And they're like, ah, Atlas.
Ra makes his way over to the table and looks to Myth and TB, and then just begins. He takes out like 9 or 10 sheets of paper and starts slowly arranging them, making. He's very careful to make sure that he spaces them correctly.
Goodbye.
I'm not sure if this had been gone over, but seeing as how we will likely have company to deal with on our return, the pardons will likely have to wait until after this is all solved, won't they, Elsmore?
Elsmore plants his hand on the table and looks at the papers that you've laid out in the pattern of the sigil. Kind of thins his lips, furrowing his brow. Indeed.
And what is that?
With both Serge and I all but exiled from our own city, the matters have grown that much more complicated.
Ra first
Couple
looks at
nets.
Myth and then at Elsmore and then down at the sigil, and he says, "Well, Elsmore, your father and the rest of the expedition are in what our mutual friend Atlas calls Mechanus, which I believe is the plane of air. And this is how we get in."
A cipher?
Tools.
Serge looks at it and says, a cipher?
He says we bring this to the crystal, and it opens the way. Also, I have my bloody weapons back. And he takes out Sothis
You
and
what?
the Untamed and affixes them to his belt and his back.
Good to have them back.
He looks like he's ready to cry out of happiness.
Magnet delivery services. Goodbye.
Before we go through that crystal, I believe I will need to retake my mantle as Shadow Hunter. It has been too long.
In that case, I have a wanting to feel the call of the gods once more. The question is,
I'll admit I miss my cleric.
the problem is where may we do that?
Well, we should be able to at the crystal in Ardengale after we're able to get to it, right? Or is the one in Alexandria our only real option?
Now that you mention it, I haven't a clue.
Well, at the very least, we can test it out, and if it doesn't work, we must work with what we've been given. So...
Wait, that's not a myth. That's not a myth line.
The truce has been established. The key has been retrieved, and our goals lay before us.
Is oh wow, yeah, Alexandria is pretty close to Highgate, huh?
Let's make sure we arrive in one piece, and let's hope Artemis hasn't killed herself by the time we get back.
Artemis wouldn't kill herself. We should be more concerned for those around her.
Hey.
Let's actually check in on Artemis. Artemis, how you doing?
I think that it's nighttime now. Just.
We can't leave Artemis on the curb. And we got about a little over a half hour left, so...
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, as of currently, the time in our point of the game is like late, right?
Yeah, it's like almost nighttime.
From my perspective, just left.
So Artemis, what you been up to in all this time?
Artemis has been racking her head trying to figure out a way to get in contact with Arjun, and she has come up with a plan. So she is going to disguise herself as the waitress again, whose name I've completely forgotten.
Wasn't it like Diana?
Stuff like that. That's
Diana Einstein.
Sure, why not? So she's going to do that. She's going to head back upstairs. My ass is just sitting at the table, feeling the expectation that Ra will be back any minute now, I'm presuming.
I think that was how I left him, yeah.
He's got like 4 or 5 books piled up. He's reading another one while snacking on a scone. He seems pretty oblivious to everything going on around him.
And so Artemis is going to approach the table. She's going to grab a serving tray from behind the bar. She's going to approach the table. Get in there, man, love.
He pauses on his munching, looks up at you, back at his book, double takes up at you. He's like, I'm sorry, repeat that?
Can I get you another round, love?
Another round of... I'll take some more tea. Thank you, ma'am.
Excellent. Back in a second. She's going to pop over, and while she's over there getting the tea, she's going to take a page out of her notebook, and she's going to write this down.
Don't worry about me.
Just going to come back with the tea. Oh, and just your receipt while we're at it.
He kind of mutters to himself, "Don't react." He kind of cranes his neck back. He looks around.
You dumb motherfucker.
The guy's not exactly suave.
And the Virgin Marius.
He's not very suave. Oh crap. He quickly stuffs the note down into his robes and closes the book up, starts hoisting the books into like his book sack, and stands up, adjusts his glasses, looks around, and just very awkwardly fast walks out.
So for the listeners, Artemis's note said, Artemis Newton. Yes, it's an illusion. Don't react. Read this bit over twice. Don't react. Meet me outside.
He steps outside, walks around behind. I'm assuming you're waiting for him behind the overlook, or in the alleyway behind the overlook. He peeks his face and he looks around, he's kind of peeking around the corner. He's like, "Hello."
Rama's thick beard. I told you not to react. Hurt it twice.
Well, you tell me not to react, and you make it sound all sneaky and suspicious. And how am I supposed to not react to that? Artemis.
Look, if you want to act less, you're going to have to pay.
Wait, are you actually Artemis?
She drops the illusion for a second.
Oh, fantastic! You are Artemis. Good to see you.
Yeah. So, I understand you're quite well connected in this city. Is that right?
Well, I don't know about well connected, but well, my half brother. You see, he's pretty. Let's just say he's kind of the head of the House of Innovations right now.
Oh, is that right? So you'd be able to get into said House of Innovations, is that correct?
Well, yes, kind of, as far as the authority that is allotted to me.
Excellent. I'm presuming there's like some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for here? Some kind of staff room where people congregate, notices are on display, things like that?
Well, it depends on the sub-departments. As you know, the House of Innovation dabbles in many projects, and oftentimes, when they aren't involved in collaborative work, they're usually handling their own affairs, and so they have their own office spaces relegated towards such. Was there a particular branch of the House of Innovations that you are not so unsubtly asking after?
Are you aware of a man named Argion?
I think Ra mentioned someone of the sort, didn't he? Did he?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. He laid it all out for Marius and Elsmore. Whether or not Elsmore retained anything while he was shitting his pants over his half brother, that's on you. But
Well, from what I hear, this Argion sounds like terribly bad news.
Yeah. I need to have a word with him. And I'm hoping you can help facilitate that matter.
Wait, so you want me to try and contact the bad news man?
I take it back.
Oh, no.
This session is going to be titled Marius discovers the first of Artemis's many red flags.
I'm sorry if I'm misconstruing the facts here, but isn't he trying to kill you and by proxy everyone associated with you? Oh boy.
Well, look at it this way. He's doing a really bad job of it if I'm here talking with you. Anyway, I don't need you to actually go up and talk to him. I just need you to put this in a place where a lot of people in the House of Innovations will likely see it.
Oh, I suppose I could.
And so while during this entire speech, Artemis has been writing something down on a spellbook, and she tears the page out. And
There's gonna be some good shit, I can already tell.
Plot twist, just don't react. Made you flinch.
Artemis and Marius are talking in the alleyway behind the overlook, and Artemis is basically conscripting him into doing his best to help her summon Argion by taking a note that she's currently writing and pinning it in like the staff room of the House of Innovations where a lot of people will see it. I'm just imagining Marius going on this goose chase, like while the Mission Impossible theme plays, and he sweats a lot and just constantly looks over his shoulder and looks super suspicious, and it keeps cutting to people like observing him, like, what the hell is wrong with Elsmore's brother?
Oh yeah, and while she's doing this, she's like consulting something in her hand as she's writing, and then she finishes up. Right, yes, and if you could just let this, and she hands over what to that is probably looks like just utter nonsense, but it's Lithenium.
He looks at the piece of paper and he looks it over and he can't make heads or tails of it.
Trust me, the intended recipient will know full well.
He kind of shrugs, straightens out the page, slips into his robe along with the other notes that you've been passing him in class, and adjusts his glasses and and he thins his lips and kind of looks down. He says, all of this so that you can confront Ramu in his own domain, yes?
You have to admit, as proof of thesis goes, it's up there.
He kind of like smiles, but there's a somberness in that smile as he grips his left arm. He says, you all go to a place where there's assuredly danger. And while I don't know the entire depths of it, would that I wish I could go with you.
Aww.
You're all out saving this world, and I only wish I could do my part.
He's not a simp. Don't call him a simp, Jonah.
Jonah's just projecting. Now I know. I'd probably just slow you all down. But I think at least with this, if this harebrained scheme of yours actually works, well, I'll be glad knowing that I did my part. I should get going. And he starts to shuffle towards quickly leaving towards the office of the Guild of Innovation, or I guess House of Innovations. Yeah.
So for the listeners, the note in Lufenian that Artemis gave him reads, I know you can read this, and if you can read this, you know what it signifies. Why don't we talk about it just between us? Meet me at the marketplace. I'll know if you don't come alone.
Wait, when did she learn Lufenian?
From the Rosetta Stone.
Oh, she actually learned it? Dang.
No, she's been consulting. That's why I was saying she was looking at something in her hand. She's been consulting the dictionary.
Yep.
The grammar is probably terrible, but
Yeah.
It'll
okay.
get the point across.
Marketplace.
You're welcome.
Face. Please, from Artemis.
Capital PLZ.
It reads like the note from the zombies in Plants vs. Zombies.
Anyway,
It reads like she just stuck it in Google Translate. And as he's leaving, she just looks up and like, "Oh, sorry, did you want to come?" Oh, he's gone.
Oof.
He basically awkwardly stumbles his way into swift walking on out of there to go do what he has to do.
If Artemis mentioned, she absolutely like, "Yeah, sure, no, come on, I need more."
An extra body?
Yes.
That said, what do you want to do while you're waiting for I guess you're heading towards the marketplace and waiting there, right?
Yeah. So she is going to head to the marketplace, and she is going to be doing basically browsing the shops. Every so often, she will head out into the square, look around. She's gonna find a place to change, and then she's gonna shift her identity every so often, just so it doesn't look like the same person is just hanging around the shop all day.
It's like nighttime, right? Like 8 or 9 o'clock?
Evening is hitting, and right now you can see a lot of people are working on trying to get things back into order in the market district after it got fucked. The damage wasn't more widespread outside of like a block or so, but there's a lot of people working on trying to clear the rubble and get things tidied up again, and people are, so that people can kind of get back to their lives and stuff. So what do you want to do while you're shifting identities?
Presumably, because everyone is currently busy rebuilding the place, I guess Artemis is going to help clear rubble, like not using magic. So, with her noodle arms, just.
So you introduce yourself to one of the foremen working on the cleanup project.
Sure.
He's kind of a big, stout, gruff-looking dude. Kind of has like a meaty underbite. Wears like a kind of newsy cap that somehow just constantly covers his eyes. He's got like a big old tattoo on his left bicep of an anchor.
I came here for the production of Newsies. Now it's time to see you today.
No, he's just got one of those styles of caps, He looks down at you. He's like, "You're a volunteer, huh? Well, I guess I can't argue extra bodies. Why don't you go over there and see if Paulie needs anything? Hey, Paulie, got a new body I'm sending your way." And you're shoved over there.
Hey, I'm walking here.
And you spend some time clearing up some rubble, and at the end of the shift, you're given a club sandwich.
Hell yeah.
Aww.
Everyone working on a project is given a club sandwich. It seems like the foreman he's kind of a soft touch, and he likes to reward his volunteers with just a small token of appreciation. That said, your arms are very noodly from just
Picking up bricks.
Picking up bricks, metal, wood, planks, you name it. Just
Is this the first time Artemis has taken accountability for her actions and taken steps to mitigate the harm?
Goddamn manual labor. I am not built for this. I am upset.
so you are pretty weary from like 2 or 3 hours of doing that nonstop. But a lot of the volunteers and other workers, they say their goodbyes to each other. They start to head home. The closet starts to clear out. You have the few hangers on just kind of doing their own things. and you're kind of left to your own devices as the night sets in and the murmuring kind of dies down into a quiet. A fellow steps up beside you, flips through a newspaper, and he says, "Your dialect could use some work, you know."
I'll be sure next time to look at the massive amount of Lithinian scripture that's been left to us. Oh, wait.
Argion's doing. Yes, I'm aware. Real shame that.
Wait, who is this guy?
Oh, he's not even deigning to meet me in person.
Wait,
Feels-
no, not Argion. Keel's doing.
Oh, thank God. Holy shit. My heart was in
That-
my throat there for a second. I was like,
That
there's two? We're fighting two?
that
Oh, I
was
thought
my fucking brain getting its wires crossed as usual. I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
Thank God.
Kale's work as usual.
From what I've seen, he seems like a charming individual.
Quite the firebrand he is. So, I
Are you
trust
gonna
you have...
are you gonna complain about Nail destroying a bunch of ancient ruins, Artemis?
I don't know about that.
Wait, I'm pretty sure we told you.
I don't think you've mentioned the full extent of it. I think you were just like, oh yeah, we encountered some minor difficulties. Some things got destroyed.
No, I'm pretty sure we specifically mentioned that or something to the effect that we saw some Lithinian ruins and then had them deciphered, had the recipes discovered there deciphered. You.
I suppose there is a point for this arranged meeting. He's not looking at you. He is still reading the paper like an asshole.
So glad I beat the shit out of this guy.
I would like access to the elemental plane of air, and I think you are the best person in this city to facilitate such an arrangement.
Why would I want to do that?
I don't know. I'm hoping to discover that in the course of this conversation. Because it occurs to me that I'm not entirely sure what your end goal is here. From the sound of it, it doesn't sound like you're all playing from the same playbook.
Well, I'll agree that our methods vary.
I'm just going by the lack of bearded deity rampaging through the streets.
But no. This was to be your trial, remember?
That's an odd choice of words. So let me ask you, were you part of the research project here, or were you the test subject?
Right. You stumbled on those notes. He lowers the paper and glances at you. He's basically himself, but he's wearing a hat. He's not really taking the same pains to hide his identity as you are. Just figured he's just gonna put a hat on and you read a paper.
I mean, I know you have a low opinion of our civilization, but passwords, really?
Well, that wasn't my doing.
That's unfortunate. Should probably tell off whoever is doing it was.
So he flips another page in his newspaper, and he's kind of just been flipping the same page back and forth, not really bothering to read it.
So, which do we want to talk about first? The Warrior of Light project, or the fact that this city is a gigantic turret in the sky?
Fine, I admit it.
I'm up for either discussion.
Yes. Me and my comrades were Lufinian stylized heroes. Our design was to bring hope to the world. You could almost say that we were built for that purpose. But every tool has its purpose. And once that purpose has seen the extent of its use, what do you do with it? You lock it away, out of sight, out of mind, until it should see its use again.
So once you'd sealed away all of the espers, it was your turn. Is that about the sum of it?
I might admit that my peers might look upon their newfound duty begrudgingly. But mistakes into miracles, or whatever saying suits you. He looks at you the way I understand it. You should be familiar with the process yourself, should you not?
What's he referring to here specifically?
You carry a trinket of a certain legacy about you. Hard fought over, no doubt.
The learned stone. That's what.
It was from these examples of esoteric knowledge that me and my own sort had come into being.
What?
And so took the information from these and applied them to yourself. Although I'm probably giving you a lot of agency in that decision.
Well, it works wonders, doesn't it?
Yes, indeed. Were you volunteered for this project, or was the decision taken out of your hands?
Argion folds up the paper and he looks at his wrist as if there was a watch there. Of course, there's no watch. I'm afraid time's up. Keep following the crumb trails. And he gives you a shit-eating grin as he steps back and whooshes on.
One thing before you go then.
He's not there, but you get the sense that he's listening from possibly somewhere nearby.
Are you by any chance the only one in these parts? I'm suspecting you're not.
There is no answer. But perhaps your dodgy, shadowy, malicious friend might have heard your question. It's unsure. Or it's uncertain. And I think we'll leave that off there tonight.
Thinking emoji.
The thinking of emojis.
So we're in Act 2, right?
So, what were you getting?